What are you even saying? You, Lena, my mother-in-law, interrupted me. A maid? What, a maid? Are you serious? I was shocked. Yes, she said firmly, you're just like a maid in this house. My father-in-law, Greg, added, you don't earn much, so your job is to take care of the house. We'd be fine without you. Lena nodded. I took a deep breath and replied, I see, then I'll leave without hesitation. My name is Emily, and I'm 31 years old. I've been married to my husband, Jake, for 2 years. We had a quick marriage because I got pregnant, and now we have a 2-year-old daughter. Jake and I were high school classmates. Years later, we met again at a reunion, started dating, and after 2 years, I found out I was pregnant. Since we were already in our late 20s, getting married and having a baby felt natural. In fact, becoming a mother made me feel even more settled. Our life together was happy. I took maternity leave to focus on raising our daughter. Jake adored her and spent time with her every evening after work. Our home felt warm and peaceful. But everything changed when we moved in with Jake's parents. My parents want us to live with them, Jake said one evening. What? Why? They're not that old yet, I asked, surprised. They've been asking me for a while. As their eldest son, I'm supposed to live with them, he explained. But I wanted to live alone with you and our daughter for a while, so I kept saying no. Then he continued, but now that our daughter is 3, I think it's time. Besides, my mom can help you with the housework. I guess that would be nice, I said hesitantly. I was working part-time, and juggling work, parenting, and house chores was tough. I didn't see my in-laws often, but they seemed to love my daughter, so I had no bad feelings about them. I thought we could make it work. I knew living together might be tricky, but after thinking about it, I decided to give it a try. That was a huge mistake. At first, my in-laws were polite. For the first month or 2, they treated me decently, but slowly, their attitude changed. One evening, Lena asked, Emily, can we have dinner earlier? I'm sorry, I pick up my daughter after work, so this is the usual time, I explained. If you only work part-time, you should come home earlier, she said coldly. Well, I have a schedule, I started to explain, but she cut me off. You're so unreliable, it's really frustrating. Was that really necessary? I usually finish work at 4 p.m., pick up my daughter from daycare, stop by the store, then come home to cook. Dinner is always ready by 6 p.m., that's not late at all. Besides, Lena doesn't do any housework, so why is she complaining? She just sits around all day. Then Greg, my father-in-law, started acting the same way. You haven't cleaned the bathroom yet, he said one day. Oh, I was about to after making dinner, I answered. You're so slow, can't you do things faster? He snapped. What? I couldn't hide my frustration. You're completely useless, he shouted. Day by day, they treated me worse. I was confused and hurt. I knew I couldn't ignore this, so I talked to Jake. Why are your parents treating me like this? I asked him. What? You're imagining things, he said, brushing it off. No, I'm not. They get mad over the smallest things, I insisted. Maybe they just want you to be a better wife. That's not a bad thing, he said with a small smile. At that moment, I realized talking to him was a mistake. I realized I had made a mistake marrying Jake. Little by little, my feelings for him started to fade. After that, my in-laws became even worse. Every day, they treated me more like a servant. Hey, give me a massage, my mother-in-law, Linda, ordered one evening. I'm still washing the dishes, I said, hoping she'd understand. Don't talk back, come here now, she snapped. I had no choice but to obey, but because of that, I didn't finish washing the dishes in time. That's when my father-in-law, Greg, got angry. Hey, my cup isn't washed yet, you're so useless, he shouted. Can't he just wash his own cup? I didn't understand why they had started treating me this way. I knew I couldn't let this continue, so I asked Jake to talk to them. At first, he complained that it was too much trouble, but after I kept insisting, he finally agreed. Later, I asked him, so, what did they say? Jake shrugged. They said something about how part-time workers don't have human rights. What does that even mean? I was shocked. Basically, they don't like that you're only working part-time, he explained casually. But you're the one who asked me to work part-time. You said you couldn't handle housework and childcare, so I had to do it. Did you even tell them that? I demanded. I didn't think that was the reason they started acting this way, so I didn't mention it," he mumbled, avoiding eye contact. I couldn't believe this. Why did I even marry him? Had he already given up on me? I thought about divorce, but for the sake of my daughter, I kept holding on. I believed she needed a father in her life. But then, one day, I saw something unforgivable. It was a weekend, and I had just returned from grocery shopping. When I walked into the living room, I saw Linda sitting with my daughter. Then she said something shocking. "Oh. If only you were a boy, I would have been happier. Why did you have to be a girl? What a shame." I froze. Was she really saying this to a 3-year-old? I immediately stepped in. "Linda, don't talk to my daughter like that." She looked startled. "Oh. I didn't know you were home. Take back what you just said," I demanded. "No, why should I? It's how I feel," she replied. "What if she remembers this and gets hurt?" I argued. "She's too young to understand. You're overreacting." She waved it off. That was it. I had lost all patience. "It doesn't matter if she understands or not. What matters is that you're teaching her something cruel. I won't let you treat her this way," I said firmly. "Treat her badly?" Linda scoffed. "When have I ever done that? Are you seriously pretending not to know? If you really don't see it, then there's something very wrong with you." She glared at me. "A maid?" I was stunned. "A maid? That's right. You're just a maid in this house," she snapped. Just then, Greg walked into the room. "What's all this noise? I can't even read my newspaper," he grumbled. Linda immediately pointed at me. "She's picking a fight with me," she accused. Greg looked at me with disgust. "She's got some nerve for a maid," he muttered. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "So, this is how you two talk about me behind my back. You really are." I stopped myself before I said something I'd regret. "Get lost. A useless part-time worker like you has no right to complain," Greg sneered. "You don't make much money, so your job is to clean and cook, just like a maid, and you have no right to talk back to your mother-in-law." Then Linda delivered the final, cruelest words. "You only got pregnant to trap our son and take his money. That's the kind of woman you are. We don't need you in this house." I stood my ground. "Say whatever you want. I've had enough. You all need to wake up," I said firmly. Right then and there, I decided to pack my bags and leave with my daughter. Just as I was about to go, my husband, Jake, came back from his fishing trip. "Oh, Mia, what are you doing with that big suitcase?" he asked, looking confused. "I've been fired as the maid," I replied coldly. What do you mean?" he stammered, his face turning pale. "I'm never coming back to this house. Good luck on your own," I said and walked past him. My mother-in-law, Linda, sneered as she watched me go. "Well, at least now my son's money won't be wasted on her," she smirked. Jake stood there, silent. That was the final straw for me. I took my daughter and went straight to my parents' house. The next day, I got a call from Linda. "Hello, do you still need something from me?" I asked, annoyed. "Mia. I'm so sorry for what I said yesterday," she said in a soft, desperate voice. Her sudden change in attitude. She must have found out the truth from Jake. "What's this all of a sudden?" I asked. "I didn't know." "I apologize, please come back," she begged. "No, you said you didn't need me, remember? So there's no reason for me to return," I told her. I didn't realize you were bringing money into the house," she admitted, her voice shaking. "I was giving you $1,000 every month from my salary," I explained. Then I continued. "Even though I only worked part-time, I'm a nurse, so I made good money. Jake has a full-time job, but his salary is actually pretty low, and most of it went toward our living expenses. That's why I gave you money every month. On top of that, we were saving for our daughter's future, her education and other expenses. Jake is a nice person, but he has low self-esteem and likes to show off. So, when I left, he couldn't admit that his own income was small and that I was the one helping out financially. But when he failed to stand up for me, that was the moment I was done." I told Linda that no matter what she said, I would never return. Then, I hung up. After that, I sent Jake a message saying we would handle everything through my lawyer. I blocked all the numbers from my in-laws and started the divorce process. I asked for child support and alimony since Jake had allowed his parents to treat me so badly. Now, My ex-husband is struggling. He barely has any money left after making payments. Of course, that means he can't afford to send anything to his parents anymore. They had been living in luxury, but their savings disappeared fast. Now, they have to rely on my father-in-law's retirement fund just to get by. At this rate, their future doesn't look so good. Well, that's none of my business anymore, but honestly, I think they deserve it. Every time Jake sees our daughter, he asks me to help him because he's struggling. One day, I finally told him, if you keep bringing this up, I won't let you see her anymore. After that, he stopped asking. As for me, I moved back in with my parents and started working hard as a single mom. Since my mother helps take care of my daughter, I'm able to work night shifts again, and my income has gone up even more. I'll keep working hard, making good money, and watching my precious daughter grow up strong and happy.